Welcome back to all the subscribers. Welcome the new viewers. If you're just jumping in, we're heading out of Draft 1, moving into Auction Draft 2, set up for this Saturday. And we're going to talk about where your sheet is at, where your players are at, get you a little player update. We've got to answer some comments. But before we start, I just have a couple things. So, I got some comments on last draft and how I overpaid for Acuna. But in a way, that first draft was really just a test. That was just get my favorite players. I listed who I wanted, and I kind of showed I was ready. That I knew Acuna was going to be ridiculously expensive, and I got whoever I wanted. I was able to just pick 6 guys and some pitching and mix them in, and that was just a test. But I have to reformulate. I have to go back in and look at players and see value. So the next step in your list, a little segue, is you had blanks in the list, so you insert cells, open up your Excel spreadsheet so you can put the money values in next to the players. And now when you move the players, you have to get used to carrying the money with you and dragging the money around with it. So you put all the values in and things start to come out of the list. And what I go back to is what I'm going to call the start from scratch approach, because we need to win the top rounds. We need to have a very, very tight top 100. We have to review pitching. Because we've been checking players. We've been deep. We've been looking for sleepers. So and you're in the middle of draft season, you can only look at so much and so many different positions at once. So just go back to the beginning, make sure someone didn't slip, and so I've got some updates for that. First, this is the main thing I have to tell you before you leave, or stay tuned. But there's a Trey Turner alert out. I'm going to put out the Trey Turner alert. I saw something very, very important in the numbers. He carries a home run to his whole career. His home run to fly ball ratio is like 22. It's very high. It's very high. He's not an 8, a 9. He's not a struggle season. He's like a very strong home run hitter, and his home run rate has not reached the way that it's shown in his potential. So I think there is more pop. I think Turner has maybe 30-60 upside or something, just something crazy. So we're going to have to build around him. There you go. So there was another question I got to slip into. It was the Machado versus Judge. Okay, Machado went to SD. SD has been known as a bad park. Get into your park factors. We're going to talk about SD. It has been known as a bad park, but they brought in that outside. I believe it's the right fence. So looking at handedness, it's not the worst park. That's not terrible. It's going to be nice weather. He might be comfortable there. Good training. So Another idea of the park factor, just so you know what's going on in Arizona. They added the humidor, so a lot of hitting is depressed there. Hitting is depressed. They think that the pitchers were getting so much grip on the ball that they had extra cut, extra curve, and so they didn't really have control. Maybe their stuff bounces back. This just reminds me of another comment someone mentioned about Marquez. I am back in on Marquez. I'm staying in on Marquez. He's still a value arm to me. Maybe not my number 2. I like him more at a 3 or a 4. But in Colorado, the air is thin, so supposedly the ball isn't cutting as much. They're getting less horizontal movement, and that's why batters are able to square it up a little bit. And then especially on hard stuff, which you like to have a little bit of movement, a tail. A 4-seamer, it has a tail. A 2-seamer is actually code for a sinker. That one has some drop to it. If it's in Colorado and it's not moving the way you get it to, it's just meatballing. And then the air is thin, the ball's going. But they've added a humidor to Arizona, so Arizona's got its own thing. Hitters are not going to do well there. But this quick comment on Machado versus Judge, it's really a matter of taste. And the big difference was exit velo. So I went back to just some of the base metrics. Exit velo is one of them. And Judge's exit velo is like a 94 miles per hour, where Machado's is 90. In number of hard hit, Machado's hitting it more frequently hard. Judge probably has that extra home run upside, that 45, 50, where Machado's 37, 40 might be his cap, 42. But Machado's probably going to be on base more. Judge has a very interesting tool. Let me just segue into Judge. He's laying off. He's laying off because his chase rate is terrible. His chase rate is 40%. Really bad. But his chase swing is only 22%, which is good. and then he's bringing massive power. So when he hits it, he's a little more all over nothing. Machado is a little bit more disciplined, but doesn't have the same pop. So let me just mention Ken's team real quick. Sometimes I feel like when I give a little bit of advice, you guys have been liking it. I'm trying to give you information that you guys can take it maybe better than I can, because I have a little bit too much ageism. Ken just drops his team. I think he's just a little bit of a humble brag with all the talent he put on this team, and he drops. And let me just review it: J.D. Baez, Story, Hoskins. Whew. I mean, power ready. He's looking at 100 plus home runs from those four guys alone. Suarez, one of the most solid third basemen. If you're just don't want to deal, you don't trust anything else. The power, the BB aces, Bauer and Bueller, and then it kind of feasted in the mid rounds. Really disciplined. Puig and Folty, Bumgarner, give him a chance at $9. McCutchen the clutch at $4, value, and then living late. Josh James, he get the Alex Reyes. Let's keep getting it. Jansen, dollar. Hicks, 100 miles an hour, dollar. Givens, free saves, has it locked up. I mean, down to the very last picks. Steckenrider, Voit, DeJong, Strom, gonna get starts. That is quite a team by Ken Pikchuk. And I mean, he obviously knows exactly what we're doing here. So I wanted to go back to the drawing board. I wanted to conceive of more ways to build the teams, make sure I wasn't developing any biases, and restructure this top group. We're going to jump into those a little bit. The things I was going back and looking at, because I want you to be able to do it if you're in there grinding yourself, is number of hard hits per season that those guys are mashing on Baseball Savant, and the barrel rate, of course. Just double check how far had guys fallen and risen. My real secret for today, this is where it kind of was a little bit of a breakthrough. I've been going all season. I'm looking at guys. I'm looking at O swing. I'm looking at Z contact. And then I'm like, you know what really the difference is between all these guys? The key metric, this is metric of the draft, going between draft 1 and draft 2, is their O contact. How much contact they make when they're chasing stuff. Because all the guys pretty much that have really strong O contact can live. If they're up in the 77%, 76, high 70s, I'll go down to just 70%. That guy can go out and get it. And after that, going back through your O swing and looking at who's low, who you can tolerate, it seems like if they're going to get exploited, O swing and over 37%, 35, 40 is no good. So that O swing, we really want them to get it down into the low 30s, and we'll let them live with chasing everything. I love the question. Somebody hit me up with the K to BB percentage. I said the plus 20. So what is my floor for that for not good? 12, 13. Really not gonna be good. 15 is so pedestrian. 17 is my floor because you start to see more density in there. 15 is probably just pedestrian. The jump 15 isn't gonna become 22. But from what I've looked at some historical and down to about 16, guys can pop to 19 the next season. So you're looking for the guys in that range that are young and have velocity. And then 17 to 19s can pop into mid-20s, can pop into 22, 24, 25. And the guys that are constantly 32 or can touch 30, only drop to 20, and they kind of just bouncing back in that range. So that's a little bit how I'm looking at K to BB percentage as a metric and some of the ranges there. So let me just see if I had anything else. Another place, because we're looking for the creme de la creme starters. I went back, I've been playing, I've been pushing guys up. The Wheeler hype, I got out of control with that in the preseason. But it's like, hold on, let's settle back in. There's some questions surrounding Kershaw. Let's talk serious about Corbin. What's going on with Bumgarner? What's really happening with these guys digging back in? Because the first rounds are where we really need to not make mistakes and have the right guys pushed up. Because at this point, this stuff is looking nothing like ADP. The shit is going off the tracks with ADP. I mean, I don't know if there's a relative dearth of quality MLB content out there. MLB.com, shame on you guys, disappointing. They're supposed to drop player raters with cards, and you can flip them over, and you can see their years, and they just copped out to a list. They copped out to their preseason list. They didn't even try. ADP is out of control, and as if NFBC is the only place where people are doing research. And then ADP echo chamber. I got some fallers for you guys, some way that I think I'm seeing kind of through the matrix on some of these lists. Let's get into list review. Let's get serious here. We got a little bit of time. I moved a lot of guys around. And I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to give you a draft structure, but let's do some movers here. I'm right at the top of the list. And we're going to talk auction. I know it's scary for everyone else. They want to get in and they want to talk about ADP. And then I'm hearing people are mentioning auction. Well, guys, auctions are fun, but it's totally different. They have nothing to say. And then I'm never going to say the word stars and scrubs to you again. Now, I'm never drafting like that. That's not a technique. We're not going to say that around here because that's all I hear everybody say. So that word is done. I'm going to talk about ladder drafting, getting your guys, four cornerstones, who's on fire, mad depth, value hustle, build from the bottom. I mean, I've got a lot more. So here's the players. We got to get into the very top. Top of the day to you, gentlemen. Of course, don't forget the Trey Turner alert. Don't let him fall if you're going to build around something crazy and you want to be happy this season, because Lindor is gone and there's going to be there's less steals again. And you can do Story, but if you want even more speed, you can put it all on Turner. Lindor for $35. Let's not get carried away here, okay? I know he strained his calf, but he didn't tear his ACL. He didn't fracture his hamate bone. This is a calf strain. It was long enough out. I mean, he's 25 years old. I know 9 to 10, but I mean, let's think about how Russell Westbrook came back. So I'm finding value. I got Lindor up. I think that he's safe at 35. JD Martinez at 45. There's so much hard hit. I mean, I just wouldn't want you to forget about this guy. God forbid he slipped in a draft. Don't let him slip sub 40. 35 is a super sale, super deal on him. Manny Machado, I don't know how SD is going to affect him. Is he going to get popular in San Diego or nobody's a fan of? I'm not sure if it's going to affect his price, but he's going at 35. There seem to be some questions. I'm all day there. Bryce continues to slip in drafts. The next draft, is going to have some Bryce in it, so he's going for 35. He's a bargain there. I get down a little bit further. Bregman's just throwing from 90 feet. It's time to be a doctor a little bit. How does his preseason warm-up look like it's going? Not very good, but again, he's young, 25, 26. If they're going to let Ohtani hit with his Tommy John surgery, I guess Breggs has to be better. This is the magic of Breggs. This is why at 35 and his multi-position eligibility, $35. Breggs is walking more than he strikes out. So that's a special talent. Most guys are striking out like double what they're walking. So Breggs has a special ability to make contact. You can't go wrong there if he's being devalued for that injury. Judge, we're going to throw him in the mix. I don't think he can be slept on as an elite power bat. So one of the stacks I was looking at was like a Turner Judge, making them two of the cornerstones out of the gates, getting that big speed number, big power number. Committing to those two, so I like Judge. And of course, with second base, Baez is a little expensive, and I think in this case, it's sad to say, but like Alberto is my player there at second base. I'm just seeing little subtle things in his barrel rate and in his high BABIP because of his speed that we might be looking at a little Trey Turner light. So I'm going to continue to work there. I'm not going to get off it. He'll be one of those all or none guys that I just win or lose leagues with. Speaking of two other guys like that, I was complaining about Vlad and Eloy on the bench, but they're just too special, particularly Vlad, for me to not just consider building around them. I'll just jump into a piece of strategy. Here's a little piece in the auction draft. Is using a Chris Bryant on the corner, especially on Yahoo because they have liberal position eligibility. Guys are playing all over the place, so you could use KB, have an outfielder you're taking a shot on like a Buxton, I got some other risers for you. Vlad comes up, KB jumps into the outfield for you. He's a nice, never lose value, really recoup the value of Vlad. Add some depth to your squad, so I got that one for you. And the same thing with Eloy. Like, I mean, Eloy is just going so cheap. I think if you're not really living in prospect land, this isn't kidding around power. This isn't. Don't get this confused with Kyle Tucker from last season. That's not what we're talking about here. You may be getting excited. You might be hearing about Tatis Jr., but he's got a lot of swing and miss, and swing and miss is one thing that doesn't really translate as guys make the jump from prospects to the majors. So Eloy, I'm gonna save another bench spot for him. I think that's how I get that boost and like break out and maybe dominate some teams. Let me jump over to pitching here. Let me jump over to pitching really quickly. Again, this was just like an XFIP. This was just XFIP and velo, just making sure I didn't get carried away, but also matching the values. It seems like we're getting aces for $20 to $30, and they're high quality aces. I'm gonna build you guys. This is the staff I'm envisioning. We'll just blend in the draft prep. So I'm gonna get 8 starters, and I'm gonna use 4 relievers, and I'm gonna know that I'm gonna carry those relievers. And I like how Kenny P worked it over there. I mean, I think that Alvarado, Givens, he Hicks, he just pieced it together because we want to have some saves. We want to have guys working during the week, and 4 to 5 is the optimal number. 5 sometimes is a little much because you might have a bunch of pitchers going and he has to sit, and then I don't like the occasional reliever getting the occasional seat. Starts to bother me. So we'll try to build optimally. I'm gonna have 2 bench spots 3 for pitching and 1 for Vlad and 1 for Eloy. And let's put some studs in the utility position, okay? Let's that be the plan. Get studs in the utility position, build out through that. If you're looking for studs, I'm just bouncing all around you guys, but you're ready for it. You have your list out, right? You know what we're doing here. You've been coloring up different cells. A nice late stud. Live in the Matt Olson. Be serious there. Who else? I'm gonna give you a free one. Live in the Shaw. Live in the Shaw late. Shaw in Milwaukee. Just live there. Live in Profar. I think you'll be happy there if if you're late and you passed on some stuff. All right, here are the SPs. Block Ice Snell for $30. I guess people don't think Block Ace for real. No, Block Ace for real. He'll probably keep doing that, so he's kind of at the top of the list. I talked about Kluber decline, and I take it back. I'm back on the Kluber train. He hasn't needed elite velocity. I know that he gets gems going. He's not too old. He's 31, but he's not too. So let's not forget about Kluber. Of course, we got the Bauer Buehler combination. Needless to say, they're going for value. If you want to buy aces, if you want to pay up a little bit and you don't want to deal with Tyone and Berrios, I think you got to talk about Cole and Severino. I think Cole and Severino, they're the real thing. Be serious in there. Carrasco, Nola obviously rounded out. But here are the risers. Here's some guys I pushed up. Corbin, $17, going a little bit cheap for the fact that nobody's hitting that slider. And I guess that's how he's going to pitch. And he was really hard to hit. So if Corbin is coming at value, Syndergaard, coming at value. I found my third ace. I mean, if I'm just Bauer 20, Buehler 20, Syndergaard, I mean, I'm not far from having multiple 4 or 5 aces. So we're going to talk about how to get, 4 or 5 aces. We're going to break the trend 175 to 85. Like, what are you guys talking about? We're going to be a little more flexible than that. It looks like I'm going to spend about 125 on pitching, and then maybe piece together some studs. Okay, so let me get back into the list. Bring Strasburg back up. I'm good on Wheeler still. I'm up on Marquez. As you're getting into that mid-value drop, where I really want to live, Tanaka, Paxton, I'm rebumping those guys. Bieber and Maeda late. These are my hot targets for you guys to build stabs out with value. Well, let's stay in the players here. I just want to make sure that you guys have it pushed up. Benintendi. Here's another thing. I'm seeing this movement here. Whit Merrifield, Cano, and Murphy are kind of getting first base eligibility. So I'm seeing some people let Cano work at 1B. I'm seeing Merrifield over there. Maybe you need that as an option. Slide those guys over there. All in on Hoskins. Couple late guy here. And he's being devalued. I threw some shade on him. I was reading the Ganda out there, and they were talking about Azuna. Where is he? He hasn't been at camp. I go back into the numbers. Don't sleep on Marcelo Zuna as just being a masher, as a second-year player, getting used to his field and his batter eye. He was hitting the ball hard. I think Springer's a little bit value right here. I mean, he had one kind of down season, but if you look at him a couple years ago, if he's got one left in the tank and wants to get paid one more time, he's going for value at $20. Matt Chapman hits hard. Jesus Aguilar hits hard. Michael Brantley is the real deal. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just his contact, his eye is so good. I gotta bring him up. And here's just what do I have here for you? I got 5 late guys, 6 late guys here. Abreu, the average is there. I'm seeing a breakout from Rougned Odor. I mean, Rougned Odor is going extremely undervalued. I think you got to bring Rougned up. Rougned is probably going to give you what you dream of from Albies in terms of home run power. Rougned's just been playing it a little longer. I'm up on Profar. Profar is not 27. He's not 28. He's 25. He's 25 and he's got contact rates that are going in the right direction. They're just slowly getting better, and he's in range to be manageable with some power speed. Let's give Will Myers the boost with Machado coming in. Let's give him the 3-4 or the 3-4, whoever he's gonna hit. Will Myers, 2020 basement, needs to get a boost. He's going for just $11. I think we can get him in the lineups. Hicks continues to hit. Don't forget about this guy, Nomar Mazara. He is just a child, probably 24 or something. I bumped up Peraza. I keep mixing up this name. I keep mixing up Ahmed Rosario and Eddie Rosario. Eddie Rosario is in Minnesota, and I think that his tool is suspect. I'm down on Eddie, the outfielder. Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop for the Mets, I am up on because he has a 65 future value. Just a little detour into future value when you're looking at your prospects. All those metrics are on an 80 scale. It can be an up to 80 prospect. 70s is ridiculous. 65 is pretty ridiculous. 55 is very good. 40 is average. So Ahmed Rosario is a 65 future value. I mean, Yon Moncada is something. He's either 65, he might be 70. So some of these guys have some future value. Profar was one of those guys that had that kind of future value level. I mean, just getting off to that, and just to give you an example why Vlad is going to win me seasons. So Vlad is a $40 player and a $20 wrapper. I mean, he's going to come in and probably hit 320. If someone's on base, it's a ribby. And I think even in limited sample, he's got 30 home run pop. His dad was known for chasing things off the plate. He punishes off-speed stuff. And really, when you're breaking down baseball, a lot of this, like DeGrom, no one can hit DeGrom. Your hitter goes up against DeGrom, it's gonna be bad. He's not gonna hit. But what it is, the hitters that are good, when they get that bad reliever, they get the 5th starter, they get a guy in a bad, his velo's down, and they just take advantage and they have breakout games. So guys that can spike a little bit are the ones that are able to take advantage, of suspect hitting, suspect pitching. That's pretty much what I got for you. Let me just go into this team breakdown. So we build around Turner. I think I can get a piece of Turner, Bryant. I'm looking at Judge, Harper, Mondesi, Hoskins. I mean, these are the high-end targets. As I drop down my little ladder, I could deal with a Tendy. We know we want to work Vlad into this thing. Breggs, Lindor at value. I gave you some of my SPs. If you guys are getting in the auctions, because right now the auctions, it's Tuesday. I couldn't sign up for one until Saturday. So plan ahead if you're going to get into one. Get into there and do a little drafty draft. I'm going to be working on our league. Think about it. Think about the times. I think we might have to go a little sooner rather than later. I feel like we should just get it started in case we got to sneak in one, end of the preseason. This is draft season. This is the best part. I'm going to be bringing you, maybe I'll bring you a game day. Maybe I'll bring you a little bit more work. Hope those metrics helped a little bit. Let me know if I can dig a little deeper on the metrics with you guys. Barrels, hard hit. Use your baseball savant. Their player pages are smooth. Their player pages are very smooth, and just for you guys doing Snake out there still, because it's so, guys are complaining about Snake. They're like, well, if you're on the, where I like to draft on a Snake? It's the middle of the round, because then I can chime in, before long runs of people just getting lucky go off from underneath me. These auctions, these aren't really luck. We're getting what we want. Big shout out to all the subscribers. Keep it locked in. I'll get at you guys. Peace.